All right, well, thank you everybody for joining us today for our University Parking Services, Transportation, and Public Safety session. If you don't know me, I'm Dominique Taylor. I am the campus ambassador for the Graduate Student Government. I also have here Aaron Chandler, is our Vice President of the Graduate Student Government. And so for today's session, we're just going to talk to you guys about, university services regarding parking and transportation, shuttle, public safety. And we definitely have some great speakers from all of those departments. And so we're going to start with public safety with Officer Sparks and Kelly Campbell. So you guys can go ahead.
Thank you. Hey guys, I'm Officer Carr Sparks. I'm a community engagement officer here at UC Police. We're just going to go over this PowerPoint that my lovely assistant Kelly, who's our public information officer, put together. So if you flip to the next slide, Kelly, you can see UCPD, our main goal is to serve and protect students, faculty, staff, and visitors. We're just like any other police department. We operate 24/7, 365, and all of our officers have gone through a Ohio Certified Police Academy. As you can see, we have cruisers, motorcycles, bicycles, and segways, and we also have security officers. Our security officers wear blue shirts. Our police officers wear gray shirts. Our security officers really help us out, but they are not armed. If you want to go to the next slide, we have our own communication center. So if you're on campus and you dial 911 from a phone in a classroom or a lab, that goes right into our communication center, as well as help phones all over campus. But if you're on campus and you dial 911 through a cell phone, that will go to either the city of Cincinnati or Hamilton County's dispatching center. So the only thing you need to know is if you dial 911 on campus through your cell phone, you have to tell them that you're on UC's campus and they will transfer you to our dispatching center. Our dispatchers are just like the police department, 24/7, 365, and we have 14 nationally certified dispatchers. And they take all kinds of calls, whether it's emergency, non-emergency, night ride, they do it all. So for Kelly, you want to talk about the safety resources?
Yeah, so UC Public Safety sends out emergency notifications in a variety of ways. So if there is an event that's currently occurring or imminently threatening the campus in some way, which is frequently like a winter weather closure, something like that, but it can definitely be other events. If you've been signed up for alerts before, you probably got a couple over the summer. But these emergency notifications will send out using our voice system, using text message, email. There's electronic signage across campus. It'll be posted on UC's website, on UC Public Safety and U of Cincy social media. And if you have our Bearcat Guardian app, which we'll talk a little bit about more later, you'll also get a notification through that app. UC safety alerts are only sent via email, and those are crimes that have already occurred but represent some sort of ongoing threat. And then UC Aware emails are crimes that do not rise to the level of causing a serious or continuing threat, but are a safety concern. And that is also an email. So you will, you'll see in the subject line whether it's a safety alert or UC Aware. If it's an emergency notification, the sender will not be public safety. It'll be Rave Mobile Safety. So that throws people off a little bit. That's good to know. And if you have a parent, guardian, someone else who really wants our safety notifications, they can go to our website and sign up to receive our safety alerts.
So public safety also oversees Night Ride. So Night Ride is a free transportation system for students, faculty, and staff. They have a Night Ride app, and then you can also call 556-RIDE to schedule a ride. The hours for Night Ride, they recently changed due to COVID, but Sunday through Wednesday, 8 p.m. to 2 a.m., and Thursday through Saturday, 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. And again, it's free within 1 mile radius of campus. So they do a lot of rides. It's a great resource for students on campus. I think the number is somewhere over 100,000 rides per year. So definitely take that into consideration, and it is free. So you might have to wait a little bit, but at least it's free. Kelly, you want to talk about Bearcat Guardian?
Yeah, so Bearcat Guardian is our safety app. It has a lot of really great features. The screen looks a little different than what is currently pictured on this PowerPoint, but all the features are the same. So you have your inbox, which is where I mentioned that you would receive emergency notifications. That's where they'll appear in the Guardian app, is in your inbox. And I will say one of the great things about the Guardian app is you'll receive the emergency notification on your phone, similar to any sort of push notification from an app. And it will come over Wi-Fi. So if you're somewhere where you may not have service, you'll still get that notification as long as you're connected to Wi-Fi. I've also noticed, since I have Bearcat Guardian on my phone and I'm also signed up obviously for the text message alerts, I always get Guardian first. So it's the quickest way to get your emergency notifications. We also have a chat feature that allows you to communicate with our dispatch center without having to make a phone call. So if you're ever in an ongoing situation, we definitely would say call 911 over using this feature. But if it's not an emergency, or if you're in some sort of situation where you can't call 911, this is a really great resource. You can also send photos that way. You're essentially texting with our dispatchers. There's a safety profile in the app where you can include any information you would want our dispatchers to know in case of emergency. So that can be any sort of relevant medical information. It can include what car you drive, your local address, things like that. The safety timer allows whoever you choose to virtually walk with you somewhere. So that can be family, friends, or that can be usually public safety, or it can be both. If you don't turn your timer off in time, whoever you've set as your guardian for that will get some sort of notification letting them know. You can also, you have a quick way to call UC Police in there. The call directory provides both our phone numbers and other useful phone numbers. So like Cincinnati Police Non-Emergency is in there. Some other useful places on campus, CAPS is in there. UC Information will connect you to different resources on our website, both public safety resources and other resources that are commonly looked for by students. And to download the app, you just search Rave Guardian in the App Store. I definitely encourage you to do it now before you forget. Don't search Bearcat Guardian, you will not find anything. Once you log in with your UC information, it'll take you to the Bearcat Guardian version of the app.
All right, so COVID careful. So I'm sure we're all sick of hearing about this. I'm not going to go over every one of these, but public safety is dealing with a lot of complaints about students not being 6 feet apart, not wearing masks, and not socially distancing at all. So please do us a favor. If you are out and about on campus, you should have a mask on, stay 6 feet apart. And if you're off campus, do not attend large social gatherings. We are going to be cracking down on that. So please help us out. Don't attend large social gatherings and do your part to keep everybody safe. And then for personal safety, other than COVID, our biggest problem on campus is theft. So usually when I'm doing this presentation in person, I make everybody read this first bullet point aloud. Don't leave belongings unattended. So if you're studying in a library and you have to go to the bathroom, we know it's a pain, but pack your stuff up, go to the bathroom, come back, unpack it, and get back to studying. If you leave that laptop or your cell phone or some books out, chances are they might not be there when you get back. So please do not leave your belongings unattended. Report unusual behavior. Give a parent, guardian, friend, loved one a copy of your schedule in case of an emergency. Mark your textbooks with your initials on a page that you will remember in case they get stolen. We can identify them and get them back to you. Walk in pairs, groups, especially at night, and then have your keys ready to enter your vehicle or your residence. And then for commuter safety, do not leave valuables in plain sight in your car. Remove charging cords, spare change. Basically, I shouldn't be able to look in your car and see anything that I would want to steal. Not to scare anybody, but some of our locals, they're known to carry rocks in their pocket. They'll walk by. If they see a couple dollars worth of change in a cup holder, they'll break a window just to get that change. It's a huge inconvenience for you. We have to do a police report on it. And then, you know, they help themselves to the change to get food or a drink or whatever their vice is. So please don't leave valuables in plain sight in your car. Use the trunk of your car, and always remember to lock your vehicle. And please do not leave a spare key in your car. All of the vehicle thefts that we've had out of our campus garages were because they had a hidden spare key in their car. So if someone gets into your car, like they broke into it or they just tried your door handle when it was unlocked, they're going to rifle through your glove box, your center console. They're going to look under your mats. If you have a hidden spare key in your car, most likely they'll find it and they're going to steal your car. So we haven't had too many of those, but it does happen. So please do not have a hidden spare key in your car, and always lock your car.
I will add to that, car, if you don't mind. Just one other thing we've been seeing lately is people running into somewhere and leaving their cars running. So always, and that happens in the winter too, people trying to warm up their cars and they turn them on and then leave. Someone will get into your car and drive away. So please never, ever, ever leave your car running unattended.
Another big thing that we are doing right now is Clifton area is made up of about 50% students and 50% community members that have no affiliation with UC whatsoever. So I just had to go talk to some students on Flora that had a large party the other day, and we got a complaint about it. So we call this our good neighbor talks. So the later that it gets, the quieter you should be. So turn your music down the later it gets. Clean up after your pets. We get a lot of complaints about students walking their dogs or letting their cats roam free and not cleaning up after them. Take ownership of your property. Take some pride in your property. Clean up the yard. Maintain the grass and landscaping. If you do have a little get-together, there should not be beer cans and Solo cups in your yard the next morning. Get out there and clean it up, or just don't even litter while you're having a small social gathering. And then a lot of things that we're seeing is that students have no idea who their neighbors are. So, you know, we had to talk to this one house. They were partying all the time, and their next door neighbor was the one that was complaining all the time. So maybe if you met your neighbors, you would know, like, oh, okay, we should really think about our neighbor before we have all these parties. And then also, you got to be amazed how many people don't know who their landlord is and how to reach them. So if you're a student living in this area, you should definitely know your landlord and how to get a hold of them in case something happens. So some important phone numbers. If there's an emergency, do not hesitate to dial 911. And like we talked about, we don't have our own cell phone tower. So if you're on campus and you dial 911, it will go to the city of Cincinnati or Hamilton County. Just tell them that you are on UC's campus and they will transfer you. If you want to avoid all that, I would highly recommend saving in your phone as UC Police or UC Non-Emergency or UC Public Safety, 556-1111. You can use that for pretty much anything. And then Night Ride, there's an app, Motorist Assistance, 556-2283, or you can dial the 556-1111. And then there's also parking and the Bearcat Transportation System shuttle. Kelly, you want to do our social media?
Yeah, we have Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Please follow us on all of those. Twitter is where we're going to post any sort of emergency notifications. Instagram is probably where you'll see the most pictures of our canines. So make your choices wisely and give us a follow. And then thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kelly and Officer Sparks, for that wonderful information. Again, you can visit them on your social media. I hope some people took down those emergency numbers. If you have any problems, you can always reach out to them. So we're going to move on to, oh, before I do that, does anyone, any of the attendees have any questions before we move on to our next presenter? It looks like we do not have any questions. Awesome. So we're going to move on to our next presenter, which is going to be UC Transportation. So Amy, do you have a PowerPoint, anything you'd like to share?
All right, I'm back in now. No, unfortunately, I don't. I was not aware in time that Beth was not going to be here to prepare anything. I'm not sure if she had something prepared or not. So, but basically with transportation services, what we're doing right now, we are running the Bearcat shuttles. Currently, they're running what last year's schedule was, last semester so far. That may change. I know I've got a meeting Monday morning, so keep an eye on the website, uc.edu/shuttles. Any changes we will post there, and then also send out to Sid to push out to the graduate students, make everybody aware. So currently we are running, the normal schedule for the 11 shuttles with the drivers stopping midday. They are sanitizing the shuttles. I know the drivers are all wearing masks. Anyone that is going to board will have to have a mask. If you don't have a mask or some sort of face covering, you won't be able to board right now. And they do have sanitizer available on the shuttles for riders to use. They are disinfecting the shuttle throughout the day with a big deep clean midday through their route, and then again in the evening after they have finished their route. So that way it's ready for the next day. The other thing I've got is Metro. There for a while, we thought that the Metro Easy Ride program had been canceled, and then they have ended up coming to an agreement for the next 6 months. So normally you have to reapply per semester. Right now what it's going to be is you apply now and it'll work for September 1st all the way through March 1st. So it's just uc.edu/Metro card. You go in, you sign up, and what it does is it gets you a discount on Metro. So it's $1 a ride and 50 cents for a transfer for September 1st through March 1st. Does anybody have any questions on the shuttles or Metro?
Yeah, if you could just repeat the website.
For MetroCard, it's uc.edu/MetroCard. For the shuttles, it's uc.edu/shuttle.
Awesome. And so again, we're sorry that Elizabeth couldn't be here, but thank you, Amy, for that information. Does anyone else have any additional questions regarding shuttles for MetroCard and discounts? And I just have a question. In terms of Metro, what's the radius for that?
For Metro,
Mm-hmm.
As far as the cards, they'll work for anywhere that Metro goes. Metro, if you want to take it to Kenwood over the weekend to go shopping, or it goes all the way out to Blue Ash, things like that. So Metro has quite a big radius for the city. And then back to the shuttles, the ridership is down about 85% right now. So I really do expect there to be changes to the schedule. Like I said, we'll know more hopefully next week. So definitely keep an eye on that website to see what changes we have forthcoming.
Yes, and the website has maps too of the routes, and there's even a shuttle app, isn't there, to show when it arrives?
Yeah, if you have the UC Metro app, or I mean, sorry, the UC mobile app on your phone, if you click shuttle, it'll give you a list of all the routes running. You can see it by map, so you can see where the shuttle is in its route, and you can also click for a list of stops, and it'll show you how many minutes before the bus will be back at your stop.
Yeah, it's great when you're running out the door in the morning and you have to take the shuttle just a few minutes. And I lived in Price Hill last year and had the UC Metro card, and it really did save me an awful lot of money. So it is a great program. I hope they continue.
Yeah, I'd like to see more people use it, so hopefully we can keep that for the ridership here for the faculty, staff, and students.
Awesome. Does anyone else have any other questions? Okay, looks like we don't. So thank you again, Amy. We really appreciate that. And you all can go to uc.edu/MetroCard and uc.edu/shuttle to get more information about MetroCard and discounts and the shuttle schedule. And last but certainly not least, we have Kendra Violet, who will be talking about UC parking services. And go ahead.
Fantastic. Thank you. Everybody's favorite subject, parking. So I do want to share actually our website because I'd like to show some resources that are out there for students. So
Give me
I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, let me go ahead and make you the presenter so you can go ahead and share that. Okay, you should be able to do it now.
All right. Hopefully it pops up. There we go. Do you see it?
Yep.
All right, perfect. So again, my name is Kendra Violet, and I'm the Director of Parking for UC. We currently have oversight of parking at 7 different campuses. Our newest additions are the Claremont and the Blue Ash campuses, which we took over as of July 1st. We have over 14,500 parking spaces, and I always like to give some fun facts. So if you took all of the uptown parking spaces and lined them up one after another, it's actually 40 miles long. So when you think about, we have that number of cars that are coming to campus every day, and more than that really, because our parking turns over throughout the day. It just gives you an idea of the amount of people coming to campus. We are an auxiliary service. So what does that mean? It means that we are not funded by the university. All of our expenses are paid for by revenue that we generate. So we have 3 sources of revenue, main sources of revenue, which would be our permits for student and faculty, staff, affiliates, our visitor parking, so our daily parking, and then our events. So you'll notice that there's one thing I didn't mention as a major revenue maker for us, and it's the one that everybody thinks is a major revenue maker for us, which is citations. But actually citations are less than 1% of our revenue. So we write citations in order to, as we say, control the chaos, of course. But really it's to make sure that we are consistent and fair to all of the individuals that pay to park. Growing enrollment has been a challenge for parking. It may not be evident this semester. I'm sure you come to campus now and you're like, there is plenty of parking. That is not normal. Before this whole COVID thing hit, we were actually looking at leasing parking from area entities because we did not have enough parking on campus and we were filling up every day. So we're always looking to make changes and grow and make sure that we can take care of our campus community. So I wanted to go through some of the things on our website. It is new. We just redid it in July. So if you are a student, you can see that we have a student tab here, and it breaks it down by campus, and you can get information on how to get a permit, what the permit rates are, what return policies are. So that's really where you want to go to find out information about parking for you. Now, if you are not needing a permit right now because you're only coming to campus a few days a week or one day a week, and you figure paying a daily rate is better for you, we do have some things. And then also just in the future for friends or family that may be coming down, we have our visitor page. And if you click on our visitor page, one of the things that is on there is, well, if I get there, Uptown Campus. So one of the things that we have is actually our visitor tracker tool. So what this shows is how much capacity or what we have left for visitors to park in a facility. So right now you can see that Stratford, University Avenue, and University Avenue Level 1 have no parking left. It is 100% full. So there are no visitor parking capacities in there. But everything else, you can see that there's plenty of room. So this is a great tool to use if you're coming to campus and you need to just park for the day and you want to see if there's space in the garage that you want to go to. This is one way to find that out. We also have a lot of events on campus. And so, well, typically we have a lot of events on campus. So one of the things that we implemented is our event calendar. And so one thing you can do is go to the event calendar and see what events are going to impact parking. So typically those are things like your football games, basketball games, some college conservatory music performances. And if you click on event, it will give you a description and it will tell you what the impact is on parking. So for instance, we have an FCC game tomorrow. And if you read through it, it'll say that the Varsity Village garage is closed to visitors. So this just lets you know when you're coming to campus what may be available for you if you're not a permit holder. If you are a permit holder, we always ensure that you have space in your garage. So when you drive to campus and if it says full, that means it is full for visitors, not full for you as a permit holder. So you are always able to get in. So that's one key thing that usually trips people up when they're new. They'll come and they'll be like, I couldn't park. And we're like, why couldn't you park? And they said, well, it said it was full. And it's like, no, you could go in. So just keep that in mind that we always make sure that we have space for you. There's also on here the citations page, everybody's favorite. So one of the things that we have tried to do is make sure that you can take care of your business online as much as possible. So if you do get a citation, you can always pay it online by going here, and you can also appeal a citation online by going to this page. So those are just some kind of key things to keep in mind and some ways that this can help you out. If you do go, I'm going to go back to our front page. As you scroll down, we do have some numbers there for motorist assistance, our partners over in public safety. Thank you. They help us out. So if you need an unlock or a jump start of your vehicle, you can always call that number and they will send somebody out to assist you. And then we also have here is the Do It All Online, but we're here if you can't. So we would love to see you just from 6 feet and with a mask on. But basically our office hours are on there. And then it also has the button so that you can go in to buy a permit or manage your account, whether that means returning the permit that you have. You can now do that online. That's new as of this past week. You can buy a permit. You can add a vehicle, you can just take a look at your permit, what you have. So there's lots of things that you can do in there. And then just as a parking, we like to do community outreach as well. We're famous for our popcorn. Hopefully in the future, we will have some events again where we will be able to get out into the public. We've done things like for citations, we have programs that we run throughout the year, like Toys for Tickets, where instead of paying for the citation, you can donate a toy in the amount of the citation, and that goes to Toys for Tots. We do food for fines, where it's the same thing, where you can bring in food, and we donate that to the Bearcat Pantry. And this year we were going to start, but it got put on hold because we really didn't have any citations because all the gates were up over the summer. But in the future, we will be working with Cincinnati Public Schools doing supplies for citations, where you can donate school supplies and pay in place of paying for a ticket, and all those supplies will go to our Cincinnati Public Schools. We've also worked with public safety, the car safety. Thank you again, guys, for going through all of that so that I don't have to. Really just make sure you're locking your vehicles. That is key. So we've done programs around that. We've done car care events. Last year we started where we will check your oil and fluids and tire pressure and things like that before you may be heading off on break. And then we've also done programs and campaigns around distracted behaviors, whether that's distracted driving or walking. So just, yes, we're here to help you park your vehicles, but we're also here as a resource and really to educate you about all things related to parking. So that is what I had. And then I don't know how to stop sharing.
So great. Thank you. Thank you so much. So does anyone have any questions regarding parking services? Looks like Chandler has one.
Yeah, I've got a couple of questions for parking services, and I actually have a question for Officer Sparks, but should I wait to the end after that? Or that was the last presenter, right?
Yeah,
that was.
So first I'd like to ask the two parking questions. The first one is, now if this was a large group, I wouldn't bring this up, but since it's a small
Sure.
group, I could maybe let them in on the secret. I've heard a rumor that the first parking ticket of the year is forgiven if you call in and talk to someone at parking.
So we do a courtesy void for certain tickets, not all tickets. So if you are parked in a space and don't have a permit displayed, that is a ticket that we will void one time. So we will do a courtesy void. If it is a safety violation, like you park in a fire lane, or if you park in, an ADA stall or meter violations, those are not violations that we void. Usually it's the one I parked in Stratford lot and I don't have a permit type of deal. So that one we will void the one time for you. Yes.
Yes, so it's true. I actually have someone in your office told me about it, and I've used it once, and I was very happy about it.
Yeah.
It was such a nice surprise. So I try to tell people, but not too many. So,
and part of that too is that we want people to reach out to us so that we can educate them before we do voiding the ticket.
Yeah, it's a smart idea. Nicely guarded secret. Everybody's always excited when I tell them. But the other question I had was actually about, and this may not be come under your purview, but I'm on the side of campus that is near MLK, and some of my colleagues park in the Burnett Woods lot not lot, but they park with a parking pass there. And I was wondering if you had, if you could suggest where they could look into that, or if you think that that's a good deal versus, some of the options that UC Parking has, or if you have any information. I know that's not your job, but if you have any info on that.
Honestly, typically on a normal year, quote unquote normal year, we are encouraging individuals to take alternative transportation or other things because we are at capacity with our parking. And with growing enrollment, it's just getting harder and harder every year. So of course we encourage people to find out what's best for them. For Burnett, if they have a parking pass, that has got to be, I believe, through the city of Cincinnati, because it is a city park. So they must be getting that through them. There are some other, I don't know if they do for students though, but like the U Square Garage and some of those places up on Calhoun also sometimes have monthly parking available. I'm not sure who they offer that to. So there are some pockets of places. Of course, there's the neighborhood. Although the people living in the neighborhood probably don't want me to say that, but you know, one of the things is, and we can never, there's never a 100% guarantee that nothing will happen to a vehicle, no matter where it's parked, right? But having it on campus, there is a degree of public safety drives throughout our garages. Our staff is driving throughout our garages. So there are individuals that are kind of keeping an eye on things throughout. So there is that piece of it. So it's just a matter of weighing convenience versus price and what's best for individuals. And then there are a couple of things that I didn't mention. So grad students in particular, I can't believe I didn't talk about this. If you only have night classes, we do have evening permits. So they're good after 3 p.m., but you have to be out by 5:59 a.m. the next day. And so if you're only coming in the evening, those are actually half the cost of a normal permit. And you actually have, depending on the tier, there's 4 tiers, you have access to multiple facilities. So for instance, our most popular one, which is the tier 3 evening permit, you actually get access to Campus Green Garage, Eden Garage, and I believe it's also Woodside Garage, or Stratford. So take a look at those. Those are options. And then we also, for individuals that may just be coming up to campus to study in the libraries late at night, we have a discounted parking in Woodside Garage and Eden Garage if you come in after 8 p.m. And again, are out by 5:59 the next morning, it's only $1. So those are some options for people that may live in the neighborhood, but need to come to the library for some late night studying. That would be a way for you to be able to do that at a discounted rate.
It's at the library, that $1.
Yeah. So the Woodside Garage, which is connected to Langsam Library, and then Eden Garage, because it's then connected to the medical library.
Yes. Well, that's great. And I think that that information about the tiered evening permits will be something we could really pass on, especially to our students that are in professional programs, because those students tend to work during the day and then come. So for example, in my department, we have the Masters of Public Administration, and many of those students work during the day and then come to campus at night. So that would be the perfect permit for them. And it would be safer maybe even than having to walk longer distance to your car in the neighborhoods. So yeah. And so thank you so much for that. And Dominique, is it all right if I ask Officer Sparks the question?
Yeah, no.
Great. And I'm glad that you mentioned something about neighborhoods, Officer Sparks, and how we have to be courteous to them. I remember in my MA program in Japan, if we received a complaint from the neighborhood, our advisors would take us to apologize to the neighbors, and then we had to clean up the streets in front of their houses. So they were serious. And then if we were really loud, they would block off the street and students weren't allowed to walk on it. So they were really serious. I think we're really lucky over here that we have you and your office to intervene for the students who get a little out of hand. But
yeah, we try, but college kids like to party. So yeah. I mean, we can't really stop them. But yeah, the biggest complaints recently are just about, you know, not socially distancing and not wearing masks. So we're gonna try to figure something out. And it looks like other colleges are suspending students for partying. Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if we start to follow suit, and maybe that'll put a damper on the party.
Wow, I'll be interested to see that as well.
Yeah.
And I'll be following your Facebook for that. But my question was actually regarding students that, particularly it was regarding officers that you might recommend, or places in your office for students that may have questions about gender-based violence or LGBTQ safety. And I was wondering if there were officers that were particularly, I guess, sensitive or assigned to those roles, if we could pass that information on.
So we all go through annual training that goes over all of that, and I'm an ally. I'm pretty sure most of our officers are an ally. Me as a community engagement officer, if you want to refer them to me, that would be perfectly fine by me. We also have maybe they might not be officers, but they're staff members in public safety that are more than helpful to, or, more than willing to reach out to students and, have a discussion. So if you just want to forward any students to me, and I will get them to whoever I think would be best for them to talk to.
I really appreciate that. And I think that, everyone on campus dealing with transportation, parking, and campus safety, anyone dealing with the logistics of safety on this campus, it's important for us to hear from them right now, especially because I think, well, I don't need to say anything about what's going on in this country, but I do know that we have a lot of LGBTQ students that feel unsafe, and we have a lot, especially, trans men and women of color are especially at risk. And I want our students to just know that that all of you are on their side, and I know you are. But we're going to be doing our best to show that all of these offices are on their side, so that they can feel comfortable being in your space and asking questions and seeking you all for help. So thank you.
Yeah, we are here to help, no matter who, when, where, what, anything we can do to help. You just got to reach out to us first. We can't read your mind, so you got to speak up.
Thank you.
Thank you, Officer Sparks, for that. Very helpful. Does anyone else have any other questions for Kendra or Officer Sparks regarding public safety and/or parking services? Okay,
I do have a question.
go for it.
How does the UCID card work with parking access? I see when I went to park today, I saw that there was an area to use the card.
Yeah, so if you have a permit, then your ID card is your automatic access for the garage. So you would take your ID card, and there's a sticker on a black box on the equipment. You just place your ID against that, and it will open the gate. So that's an automatic process once you buy a permit that's put on your ID card. And we also have the fast passes that an individual can buy, and it's a one-time fee. Right now it's $15 instead of the normal $30, and that one you just hang from your rearview mirror, and as you pull up, the gates go up, so there's nothing that you need to do. You can buy that online. Again, we're trying to push everything we can online, so you can buy that online. We'll process it and let you know when it's ready to be picked up. And I think we just talked about, we're going to extend that sale into September as well. So anybody that wants to do that. And then if you are a commuter and you're going to pay the daily rate instead of getting a permit, you can actually use Bearcat dollars to pay. When you leave the garage, you would just put it in like you would a credit card, and you can actually use your Bearcat dollars to pay.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, it looks like no one else has any other questions. So thank you again to all of our speakers. It looks like Kelly had to leave, so thank you to her, Officer Sparks, and Amy and Kendra. We really all appreciate your help and all the information you just shared. So again, you can find the information on their social media or go to uc.edu and their respected pages to find out more. You can also reach out to them if you have any more questions. And if there is nothing else, again, it was definitely nice to meet everybody. And also before I do that, I wanted to share something. We have you guys see my screen? Awesome. Okay, so don't forget, we also have our events coming up next week. So starting next week on Monday, we have our financial literacy and wellness from 3 p.m. to 4:30. Then we have our sexuality and gender identity session from 4:30 to 6. Tuesday, September 1st, we have our racial and ethnic diversity from 4:30 to 6. And Wednesday, September 2nd, we have professional development from 1 to 2:30. And of course, the most important session for grad student orientation, which is mental health and self-care from 4:30 to 6. So please be sure to stop by next week. It's going to be a great session. We have some good presenters and presentations, get to network and meet other grad students. You don't want to miss it. And with that, I'd like to say thank you again to everybody for joining, and hopefully we'll see you guys again soon.
Thank you.